What's up, everyone? This is Chris with Inner Self Guide. If you're new here, welcome to the show. For all my return listeners, thank you all for your continued support. This podcast is all about helping others that may feel lost or stuck in situations. Last week, we talked about boundaries, and this week, we're going to talk about extreme accountability and what that is. So the textbook definition between responsibility and accountability, while often used interchangeably, responsibility focuses on duties and tasks assigned, while accountability emphasizes taking ownership and being answerable for the outcomes or results of those actions. So you may be asking, why are we talking about extreme accountability? Because I feel, again, this is my opinion, not an expert, but in my opinion, you have to take extreme responsibility, especially when you're a parent, when you're a leader in a leadership role, when you're a husband, etc. You really have to be accountable for everybody else's actions that's under your leadership. And as a man, you should be a leader. And if you're not leading your home well or leading your kids well, even if you're in like a job where you just, do simple tasks, you're not in a leadership role at all, you're still a leader within that company. You don't have to have the title of supervisor or team lead or what have you to be a leader. You can lead by example. You can be the leader even if you're not in that position. So today we're going to talk about accountability and responsibility as well. And I'm going to give you some examples from my own personal life of somebody taking responsibility, and then somebody that takes accountability, and also the opposite, where one person is taking responsibility for things, but the other person is taking no accountability whatsoever. So that's why I wanted to jump on here today to tell you guys that accountability, so you should hold other people accountable for their actions, but you also should be taking accountability for your own. And so Simon Sinek, I think I mentioned this in one of my other episodes, Simon Sinek said people don't leave bad companies, they leave bad leaders. And I believe that to be true, wholeheartedly. I believe that. Because a lot of companies are great, a lot of companies are really good, but oftentimes we just find ourselves in situations where we don't have the best leader. And so what does this look like in practice, right? So let's say that you're a leader and you have a team of 4 or 5 individuals, and each of those people have a certain job within the corporation or within that team. Each person has their own tasks, their own responsibilities, their own daily schedules that they have to work through, manage meetings, etc., right? So what this looks like in practice is you have a team, and let's say that one of the people on your team made a mistake. And before you even got a chance to see what happened, see anything, next thing you know, as a leader, you're getting a phone call. And it's your boss saying, hey, why was this product pushed out to the customer? Customer called me really upset. What's happening? What's going on? And so then you as a leader go to your team and say, hey, somebody messed up. And the person, but before you can even finish, the person raises their hand and they're like, yeah, that was me. My apologies. I messed up. So then they admit, they take responsibility. Hey, yeah, I messed up. I shouldn't have sent that. It's my fault. My apologies. So then you go back to your boss and say, instead of being a good leader, this is the example of the bad leader. The leader calls up their boss and says, hey, sir, it was this person on my team, and dimes their name out and says, yeah, it was this person on my team. We talked about it. They took responsibility of it. We're going to do some remedial training. We're going to do some recertifications if needed. We're going to get this person squared away. I can assure you this isn't going to happen again. What part of that conversation did the leader miss? They missed accountability. They took Zero accountability. Accountability is ownership. Who's in charge of the team? The leader is. It is ultimately the leader's responsibility to ensure that everybody on his team understands the importance of the tasks and the job at hand. It is on the leader to motivate and inspire and empower his or her people. And if they're not doing that, if they're just placing the blame, like, hey, yeah, it was this person, boom, done. That's terrible. Because now that person is going to go home stressed out, wondering if they're going to have a job tomorrow. They're going to be extremely worried because maybe they're the only worker in the house. They're the sole provider for the family. And now they feel like they're in trouble for something that they did, and they're afraid they're going to lose their job. Whereas you as a leader, your boss just says, okay, I appreciate it. Let me know how the training goes. Let me know how the recertification goes. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help. So the leader doesn't really face anything at that point in time. They don't face any kind of, well, am I going to have a job tomorrow? Am I going to be able to support my family still? They don't have those worries, but the worker does. And so oftentimes what happens is we as workers, when we get promoted or we step up into a leadership role, we oftentimes forget what it felt like to be a worker. And so when we move into those leadership roles, we forget. We've never really had to take accountability. We've just had to take responsibility for our actions, not really accountability too much. Maybe here and there, the accountability piece is, you're going to have to go through remedial training. You're going to have to get recertified and all these things. Yeah, that's like somewhat of a accountability because you're having to do things based on your lack of. So, but oftentimes as leaders, they forget that they're in a leadership role. They still want to be a worker. So there's like, yeah, so-and-so, they made a mistake. That's responsibility. So in that leader's mind, they're like, well, they took responsibility for it. But they fail to realize that me as a leader, I have to take accountability. What does that look like? What does it look like for a leader to take accountability? What that would look like is this. Boss calls, hey, this was missed. The product that went out to the customer wasn't up to snuff. It wasn't good. It was terrible. And so, instead of that leader, that good leader, instead of the leader saying, yeah, like it was this person, right? The good leader will say, sir, ma'am, it's my fault. Before that email went out or before the product went out, I should have done some final checks and balances, and I failed to do so. And I take full responsibility and accountability for that, for my team and their actions. And I can assure you, we're going to discuss this matter as a team. We're going to come up with a way ahead, and we're going to have some checks and balances put in place so that these types of things don't happen again. That's what a good leader does. The good leader didn't dime anybody out. He didn't say, oh, yeah, it was somebody on my team. He said, no, it's my fault. It's ultimately, and it's true, as a leader, you take not only the responsibility, but you also take the accountability. So whatever happens, right, repercussions, what have you, whatever happens, it's on me. It's not going to be on my team. Because my team, just like my kids, my team is a reflection of me. My kids are a reflection of me. And I take responsibility and accountability for my kids, and I'm going to take full responsibility and full accountability for my team. That's what a good leader does. Now, also, another thing I want to talk about is what may have happened or what would happen if, say, for example, you have a team, same team, right? 4 or 5 people on your team. Each one has their own tasks, their own assignments, their own things that they do on a day-to-day basis, day in, day out. They do their own stuff. And nobody else knows what that other person on their team does. Because most leaders, not all, but some leaders out there think, well, they've been doing this for 20 years. Who am I to have somebody else learn what they do? They've been doing this job for 20 years. Yeah, exactly. That's not good. If that one person has been doing that one job for 20 years and nobody else knows what that person's doing, that's terrible. Because now that's called a single point of failure. And you know what you don't want or shouldn't want as a leader is a single point of failure. Because what if that person that's been doing that job for 20 years goes home and they get a phone call saying, hey, your mom or dad, grandmother, grandfather, some family member just got put in the hospital and they're going to be there for a long time. And we need you to step in and help. So now you can't go to work. So you call your leader or your boss and say, hey, can't come to work. My loved one is sick and ill in the hospital, and my family needs me to step in and provide care. So now you're down that employee who's done that one job for 20 years, and nobody else on your team knows how to do it. So tasks start getting missed. Deadlines start being missed. All these things, the quality of work that's going out has dwindled. So now your boss calls you and says, hey, what's going on? And then you say, well, this person's been doing the job for 20 years. There was nobody else that knew how to do the job, so we really had to kind of figure it out as to what that person had already worked on for the week, what jobs, what tasks, what projects are working, when their deadlines are, when they're supposed to reach out to the customers, all these different things. Nobody knows, and that's terrible. But so oftentimes you'll see that that's what a lot of companies do. They hire a leader. There's no fail-safe at all. And so when one person goes out, it's like a dead stop. And what happens is they say, do more with less. So you're doing more with less. But the problem with doing more with less is there was no training to anybody else to do that job or that task. And so if you know that you're going to have a layoff, or you know that you're going to have to let people go because of the economy or recession, what have you, if you know you're going to have to let people go, it is important and imperative that you get together as a team and discuss that and be brutally honest and transparent and vulnerable and let these people know, hey, this is what's happening. Not saying anybody on this team's going to get laid off or anything like that, but just in case, we're going to have some fail-safes. So instead of one person knowing one person knowing their job, now it's going to be everybody on the team is going to know what each other is doing. Each person on the team is going to know on a broad level. Everybody on the team is going to know what each person is working for the week. And the reason being is because if something happens to you on the way home and you're not here tomorrow, or you can't make it in tomorrow because you're sick, ill, whatever, if you can't make it in, somebody needs to be able to pick up the slack and keep it moving so that we can ensure that the mission gets complete, that the customers are happy, that our bosses are happy. One person wins, everybody wins. One person fails, we all fail. That's the mentality that leaders should have. But so oftentimes, they don't. They're like, well, it wasn't my fault. That was so-and-so. Oh, it wasn't this. It was that. It's all these other people's fault. It's not my fault. It's all these other people that I have working for me. You guys hired them. That's y'all's fault. It's not my fault. That's on y'all. But as a leader, you need to flip that mentality to, it is my fault. And I take accountability for it, and I take responsibility for it. So when you take full responsibility and accountability for your team, and they hear you on the phone with your boss saying, hey, it's my fault, I take full responsibility. I take accountability for my team's actions. Your team is going to be like, this person has our back. If you've never heard the term top cover, that's what top cover looks like. Top cover is that person taking full responsibility, full accountability for everybody on their team. And that's how it should be. But to the same level that he is willing and able to take full accountability and responsibility, now, if you're that kind of leader, your team's going to want to do the same. They're going to want to hold themselves accountable and responsible for the work that they produce and put out. And they're going to work harder for you. You don't have to pull fingers and twist arms for people to work maybe a little later for you. You won't have to twist people's arms to do certain tasks for you if you're that kind of leader. They're going to want to do that because they see how well you take care of them, so they're going to want to take care of you. If you take care of the people will take care of the mission. If you don't take care of the people will not take care of the mission. And that is true, solid gold. Fact. So if you're out there and you're listening and you're like, well, man, this is a lot. Like maybe as a leader, you maybe take a little bit of responsibility, or you take zero responsibility, but you're definitely not taking accountability. I would highly advise you and encourage you to step up, take full accountability, start taking full responsibility for everybody on your team, and see how differently your team treats you, responds to you, and wants to work for you. And also, I don't know if you have time or not, but if you can show some sort of gratification and appreciation to your employees, that's another big one. Show some appreciation and gratitude. Everybody loves money, but as we know, in today's economy, in today's world, it's really hard to do those kind of things, those monetary rewards. It's hard to do that. But maybe you can give somebody a little bit of time with their family. Instead of them leaving at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday or whatever day it is, you just pick a day of the week and say, hey, you go to that person and say, hey, I appreciate all your hard work. I appreciate what you're doing. Why don't you go ahead and clock out? But it's only 2 o'clock. It's only 2:30. Yeah, I know. But I appreciate you. So go spend time with your family. Have a good weekend. Or have a good day. Have a good night. Or that person, you hear that it's their birthday or their anniversary. Right? So go to that employee and say, hey, I heard it's your birthday. I got you a card out of my own money. I got you a card. Maybe you got them a little small gift from a team perspective. You got them a little gift. Appreciation. Or maybe you can't do that. Maybe you can't do any kind of monetary things like gifts or monetary rewards at all. Then you can go to that person and say, hey, I heard it was your birthday. Why don't you go ahead and go home? We got it from here. But it's only 9 o'clock in the morning. I just got here. I know, but today's your birthday. Go enjoy your birthday. Spend time with your family. Go do something for you. But see, how is that leader able to do those things? By having backups. By not having a single point of failure. Because with a single point of failure, you can't do that. You really can't. You can't afford that person to ever be out. And when they're sick, you feel it. The whole team feels it. But if you create fail-safe plans by everybody else knowing each other's jobs, you can say, hey, today's your birthday, go home. Hey, I heard it's your anniversary. Why don't you and your spouse go do something fun? Enjoy your weekend or enjoy the night. Enjoy your dinner. Have a good time together. I'll see you tomorrow. That person is going to want to work for you, and if they have to stay later on certain days, they won't mind. If you have a certain project that you need done, they're going to jump in. Everybody's going to want to participate. Everybody's going to want to work for you, to show you that they appreciate and respect you just as much as you appreciate and respect them. So my encouragement is, if you're a leader, take accountability, take responsibility for your team and those that are under you. Whether you're a husband, wife, maybe you're a mother or father of kids, just as much as you take responsibility and accountability for your kids, you should do the same for the people that you lead. And that's all I had. If you're new here, again, thank you for listening in. You can find me on Inner Self Guide on Apple and Spotify. You can find me at The Inner Self Guide on Instagram. And I just recently created a website, so you can find me at https://podcast.innerselfguide.com, or you can just simply type in podcast.innerselfguide.com. As always, thank you for listening in. Until next time, stay blessed.